Well, hey, Minorcan Navy, Captain Andy coming to you again. A press conference on the dock collapse at Sapelo Island held today. I've got it here in its entirety. You guys really might want to pay special attention to about 10:36 in the video when things get very interesting with Mr. Grosvenor and Mr. Hall from Sapelo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tyler Jones. I'm a public information officer with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. We're here this morning to discuss the incident that occurred yesterday at the Sapelo Island ferry dock. With me, I have Commissioner Walter Rabin of the Department of Natural Resources. We also have a delegation from the Georgia General Assembly, including Speaker John Burns, representatives from the United States Coast Guard, and other emergency agencies that responded. Commissioner Rabin is going to speak first, followed by Speaker Burns. We will take some questions at the end, but I would like to keep this orderly, so I appreciate your understanding with that. With that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Rabin.
Could you make sure you spell your name?
Good morning. I'm Walter Rabin, WalterRabon, and I serve as the Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. First, let me say that our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are broken and are thinking about those that lost loved ones, those that lost their lives yesterday. Again, the families continue to be in our thoughts and prayers. Yesterday, hundreds of visitors traveled to Sapelo Island in celebration of Cultural Day to celebrate and honor the Gullah Geechee heritage. This is an annual event hosted by the Sapelo Island Cultural and Revitalization Society. Heartbreakingly, these celebrations ended in a tragedy as a gangway that led from the dock to the ferry collapsed and approximately 20 people fell into the water at the Marsh Landing dock. Guests were in the process of loading the ferry, the Anne Marie, which was tied up to the dock. There were 2 additional ferry runs that were scheduled to take place after the ferry run where the tragedy occurred. At this time, we can confirm 7 deceased individuals and 3 individuals that remain in the hospital in critical condition. I've been in communication with Governor Kemp, who is making all needed resources available for this response. We're grateful to our partner agencies that assisted, including the McIntoish County Sheriff's Office, the McIntoish County Fire Department, the Camden County Sheriff's Office, the Georgia State Patrol, and the U.S. Coast Guard, among others. These agencies, as well as others, provided numerous assets to assist in the search and rescue efforts that took place. I also want to thank those who were on the scene as the tragedy unfolded and jumped into action. Their quick response and action saved additional lives yesterday afternoon. The initial findings of our investigation at this point show a catastrophic failure of the gangway causing it to collapse. I can assure you that the Department of Natural Resources Critical Incident Reconstruction Team will be working tirelessly in conjunction with engineers and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to gather and preserve evidence and interview witnesses. Again, let me reiterate, our hearts are with those that have lost loved ones and have those injured at this time. I would ask everyone here in the state of Georgia to keep these people in your thoughts and prayers as well. With that, I'll turn it over to Speaker John Burns.
Good morning. John Burns, J-O-N-B-U-R-N-S. I'm a member of the Georgia House and have the honor of serving as Speaker of the House. Here with my colleagues, 2 of my colleagues from the House. And one of them will speak in just a moment, Al Williams and Buddy DeLoach, Representative Buddy DeLoach, who represents this area in the House. First and foremost, our hearts go out to the families who have suffered and those individuals that tragically perished yesterday. And certainly we continue to pray for those who were injured. As the Commissioner said, our state has great leadership. Governor Brian Kemp is certainly, his heart is with us here, with this community. His prayers and his family's prayers, as Commissioner alluded to. Our state has suffered some tragedies here in the last few weeks, some natural disasters. This just adds to that. And I can assure you that all Georgians are praying for these families and ensuring that they're offering their condolences and their support, that they will deal with this tragic issue. I also want to commend all of the agencies, local, federal, state agencies and sheriff, and everyone that came together to ensure that immediate action occurred. And there's some local heroes here as well who jumped in and risked their own lives to help pull folks from the water. So they're our heroes as well. This is one of those things that we never can anticipate, but we know that we will offer our continued support to all of those families impacted in this, and to this community, this great resource of Sapelo Island that they were enjoying. It turned such a tragic event. We will recover. We are resilient people here in Georgia and on the coast. With God's help and continue to guide us, we will all pull together and make ourselves whole again. So thank y'all for being here. I want to introduce one of my colleagues, Al Williams, Representative Al Williams, who would like to have a few words as well. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Al Williams, A-L-W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. Real tough name. All of our hearts are heavy. Such a tragedy. The Gullah Geechee community, all of this country is in mourning, along with our many, many friends. We never know, but I do know this about Sapelo and this part of Georgia. These are people of great faith. And through that faith, it will bring us through. Tragedy is never easy. But we're people that believe that God does not make mistakes. And we believe that in spite of how tough it is, that there is something good that will come out of this. We come thanking those citizens that just jumped right in and saved a lot of people, unsung heroes. And there were those that came close. I have friends that are in the hospital, now. Some that have passed on. When I was elected to the State House 22 years ago, I represented Sapelo in this part of McIntoish County. Now Representative Buddy DeLoach represents. But we've never let the line separate us. We're here. When your heart is heavy, I do what I was taught by my grandmother. Let's take it to the Lord. When I was a little boy, 5 or 6 years old, she would take me to church on Sapelo. And folk literally had to row us over there. We've come a long ways. But by faith, we've made it this far. And by faith, we'll make it on. Thank all of the state folk. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and your staff, and Sheriff Jessup, everyone that has had something to do with bringing a measure of comfort to this community that is in deep grieving. And thank the faith community. Last evening was a great display of unity as folks stood around and helped out at Elm Grove Baptist Church. This is just the beginning. We're resilient and we will bounce back. We will continue to have that cultural affair on Sapelo. This is just a slight delay, but it'll be bigger and better than ever next year. And we'll certainly remember our brothers and sisters who've gone on to be with the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. This time we'd take some questions.
Commissioner, when you say this was a catastrophic failure that led to the collapse, could this have been prevented with maintenance?
At this time, the investigation has not gotten into the details of that. What I can say is that it is a structural failure. There should be very, very little maintenance to an aluminum gangway like that. But we'll see what the investigation unfolds.
How old was the gangway?
I think it was completed in November of 2021.
Another question.
Of the gangway also periodic inspection?
almost daily inspections. I can't say that we get up under it and inspect it daily, but yes, I mean, we routinely.
About 4 months ago, I reported to one of the DNR employees that the gangway wasn't safe. I'm J.R. Groveman. I live on Sapelo. I travel there back and forth every day. I told him that the gangway wasn't safe because it was me on there by myself. It was given. I want to know, was it reported to you? Or if you wasn't here then, was it reported to any of the DNR folks? A couple of years ago, I reported that a bridge on the island was unsafe. 2 days later, the bus went through it. When are y'all going to start listening to us descendants on the island about what's going on?
Again,
We report a lot of stuff to DNR that don't get reported. I reported to the U.S. Coast Guard a couple of years ago a safety concern about the vessel. I'm a captain myself, so I know Coast Guard rules and regulations. The Anna Marie on the port side, the railing can't even go in the hole. The DNR put a sign there that says stay off railing. Some kids don't know that. The kids can fall off the boat, they go right up under the props. When we report stuff like this, we get brushed off. And we're people that know the safety on what Sapelo takes to operate, but we always get ignored about safety concerns. We're supposed to get a helicopter pad for the county. Yesterday, the helicopter had to land in about 3 feet of grass out in Ski Field where the hogs rooting up at. And I know Sapelo, and I know that the hogs root in the field because one of the guys toting the stretcher almost tripped in that thing.
Sir, this is all an ongoing investigation, and it's too early for us to speculate on
what you're doing,
what the cause of this
smooth
was.
stuff over for the state, but we're concerned as residents of Sapelo and the Simmons.
And we understand.
And I think it's important that we immediately say from our community hearts, psychars, the families on Sapelo, that we are truly sorry. It should come from us in terms of giving our respect and our love to those that was lost. Not just from the states, the feds, and other people. We are grieving with those families. And we're hoping that we have an opportunity to speak to each one of you. My name is Reginald Hall. My telephone number is 508-309-2828. We are on Sapelo fighting for our survival. And we must understand that those that passed away were here supporting a cultural event. So our hearts and our souls bleed for them from our community lips. We believe it's important as the community that you know we're wrapping our arms around you and we're praying to God. We've been fighting on paper for 15 years with the state of Georgia, with the McIntoish County. We're heading to the Supreme Court right now because the referendum was denied by the judge as they're attempting to tax us off of these lands.
Sir.
They did the things to raise the land value in a publicly corrupt act by allowing permits to build these. This
With
can't
all due
be.
respect,
we are here.
Let's
We are here to
finish his
discuss.
Statement. We're going off track here.
There is only one track. I don't know who you are, but there's only one track. And that's the track for the understanding of the tragedy that was suffered by not just those that were lost, but our people
Sir,
as well.
we're here
And the committee of the island says we are sorry.
Let's listen to our public officials and let's all hear this out.
Thank you.
What I can say is we agree with your sentiments that this is about the catastrophe that took place yesterday, the tragedy, the fact that lives were lost. We do. We join with the community on Sapelo Island in grieving the loss of these people. We can talk about other policies, procedures at another time, but today let's talk about the tragedy that took place yesterday. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next question.
You said there were hundreds of people on the island yesterday for this event. Give us a sense of what the typical daily traffic is for this island ferry system and the amount of traffic that would have been on the ferries yesterday. Is that typical or is that substantially larger than what it's usually doing?
Typically, less than 100 people come and go at any given time, depending on the events that are going there. We run a state park there, the Reynolds Mansion. We have guests that come there. We have a number of tourists that come and support the community as well, but typically less than 100. Yesterday, I'm told that we had around 700 people on the island that resulted in us offering additional ferry runs with both of our ferries, the Katie Underwood and the Anne Marie.
Is it possible that that extra stress being put on the infrastructure with so many more people could have contributed to the collapse?
At this time, I wouldn't rule out anything as being a possibility.
Was there anything
Yes, sir.
that preceded the incident? Did a boat get too close? And then I have a follow-up question.
No, sir. The boat was moored to a stationary dock on the other side. The gangway left one stationary platform and went to another stationary platform.
And just to follow up to what I guess those gentlemen were saying, have there been complaints about that specific infrastructure? And is there any record of that?
At this time, I'm not aware of any complaints.
Initially,
Yes,
they
sir.
said, did any specific types of inspections occur after the hurricane passed through?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is after a storm event like that, is anything required?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it too soon? Are you able to tell us, as far as you said, 7 died, as far as, how many women, men, and or children? And also I'm hearing that a chaplain for local law enforcement agency was one of those that perished. Can you comment on that?
We did lose a dear friend, Mr. Charles Houston. He served as a DNR, Georgia State Patrol, and GBI chaplain for the state. You would probably need to get with the county to get the breakdown of those that were deceased.
Any idea how many people were actually on the gangway at that time that support something?
Do not have a definitive number at this time. It could have been upwards of 40 people on the gangway. 20 people that we believe went into the water. Understand, this investigation is ongoing. Not only did the people from the gangway went on the water, but numerous onlookers, including DNR staff, McIntoish County Sheriff's Department staff, as well as Good Samaritans went into water that, again, resulted in saving lives.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'll ask you this. I know you're not the coroner, but can you tell us if it was impact that caused the deaths, or was it drowning?
Still very, very early to be determining that.
Is everyone accounted for now?
As far as we know, everyone is accounted for.
And
Yes,
the 3 that are in critical condition, that's all that is hindered at this point, right?
that's all that we know that are in the hospital. Yes,
So there'll be mental health counseling for people on the island?
yes, ma'am. We have
And staff?
peer support for our staff. We're going to have community meetings that also has peer support opportunities.
And where would
Runs your
it
news.
be met?
Those meetings have not been set up at this time.
Michael,
Is there
Mike.
is there a weight limit or on the gangway? Was there any sort of limit that maybe you're not supposed to go over?
Look, I'm sure anything that's man-made has some type of limit. I don't know what that is. I'm told that it should have carried the capacity that was there yesterday.
Yes,
Did
sir.
your staff, did you have additional staff on site administering the ferry runs yesterday because of the anticipation of extra people?
We did. Again, we had about 40 men and women with the Department of Natural Resources from all of our divisions that sprung into action.
But I'm talking about before the collapse. I'm talking about ahead of time, knowing there was going to be an event with additional people potentially coming to the island. How much had you staffed up in anticipation of the event?
Again, about 40 people were on the island for yesterday's events.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, based on photos we've seen and witnesses of the scene, they said that one side of the gangway actually slid off of the dock and fell in the water, so it wasn't like, it didn't break. Can you comment on that?
Again, the investigation's ongoing. It's my understanding that the structure collapsed in the middle. Now, I just left Sapelo Island a few minutes ago. One end of the gangway is in the water. One end of the gangway on the landward side is still attached. I can't tell you exactly at this point in time what happened.
Gary?
So can you clarify about the recent renovation of the dock? There was a permit application in 2022 to renovate the dock, and one of the commissioners told me that it was new as of last year. So were parts of it new and the gangway was older?
The major part of construction as far as the gangway, the new landing dock on both sides, again, was in November of 21.
permit was in 22, permit application was in 22.
It's not unusual to have really ongoing permits for any type of construction that's taking place over there.
As far as the victims, do we know sort of how many were Sapelo Island residents or how many were there for the events?
It's my understanding that no residents are members of the deceased, so I think everyone was a visitor.
Is the island currently closed to the public? And the other question is, will photos be provided to the media afterwards?
So
The area.
later on this afternoon, we will make a boat trip available to go over. The island is currently closed, especially that part. We're only allowing individuals that live there or have business there.
All right, I think that's all the time we
How are
have
you getting
today.
people
Y'all,
on?
I appreciate y'all coming. I will be around. I'll be happy to give you my card. We'll set up a website with future information about this that you can go to, and we'll keep that up to date. You can also reach out to me either by phone or by my email. Thank y'all very much for your time.
So are you saying no other updates from your?
We will give an update through a website. Yeah.
If media are going to stay, we have some residents here right now. And we're happy to make some statements. Okay. And you have some questions. As far as what we say, we don't know.